From digging in frozen dirt to pulling out millions in gold, Parker Schnabel's crew does it all, but the real question is how much are they getting paid to survive the madness? Parker Schnabel and his team have been fan favorites on Gold Rush for years. The thrill, the pressure, the giant gold hauls, we can't get enough. But for all the gold flying out of the ground, we can't help but wonder, what does the crew actually take home at the end of the season? In the latest season, Parker's team struck gold, and they pulled up 73,800 ounces of gold worth around $14.7 million. That's an insane number. You think everyone walked away millionaires, right? Not exactly. Even though the total haul was massive, breaking it down to individual paychecks shows a very different picture. First off, mining isn't just about hitting the jackpot. It comes with huge risks, massive expenses, and tons of hard days where you find absolutely nothing. And this isn't some 9-to-5 job where you clock in, sip coffee, and coast through the day. This is hardcore labor. So the big question is, who's really cashing in? Parker's crew is made up of more than just guys digging in the dirt. There are foremen, mechanics, and heavy equipment operators, all with serious responsibilities, and they earn every penny. So what's the pay actually look like? Well, a base crew member pulls in about $144,000. But here's the catch, that's for just 6 months of work. Sounds pretty good, but those 6 months are packed tight with labor. It's basically like cramming 18 months of effort into half the time. Most of the team works around 75 hours a week, sometimes more. That comes out to roughly $28 an hour and about $65,000 per season. Before bonuses, more experienced crew can rake in closer to $34 an hour, which definitely bumps up the final total. The thing about Parker is, when the gold is good, he rewards his team. While we don't know the exact bonus numbers, they're rumored to be very generous, because the more gold they dig up, the bigger the slice everyone gets. But for some of the team, the money doesn't stop with the gold, because being on Gold Rush isn't just about digging through dirt and chasing past streaks. It's also about being on camera, and for those crew members who show up a lot on screen or play a big role in the story, there's extra money coming in from the TV show itself. The numbers here are wild, depending on how important someone is to the show and how much screen time they get. Some crew members can make anywhere between $10,000 and $30,000 for just one episode. And keep in mind, a single season of Gold Rush can have over 20 episodes. So if you do the math, that means the top guys could be earning well over $200,000 just from the show, on top of what they make from mining. Of course, not everyone earns that much, and most crew members are just focused on their mining jobs. But still, for the key players, that TV money is a serious bonus. Now, let's not forget, working on Parker's crew isn't like a regular job where you clock out at 5 and head home to the couch. These guys are working in the middle of nowhere, often in freezing weather, and far away from their families and normal life for months on end. So Parker tries to make things a little easier by covering some important basics. During mining season, the entire crew gets free housing and meals. That means no rent, no grocery bills, and no stress about cooking after a 12-hour shift. It might sound like a small thing, but out in the Yukon, where the cold bites hard and the days are long, having a warm place to sleep and hot food on the table makes a huge difference. It helps the crew save more of their earnings too, because when your living costs are already covered, that paycheck stretches a whole lot further. Even with those helpful perks, this job is still tough mentally, physically, and emotionally. Let's be real, living in cramped spaces with the same group of people for months can wear anyone down. There's almost no personal space, very few ways to relax, and no real break from the grind. It's just work, eat, sleep, repeat for weeks on end. And while the free meals and beds are great, they don't fix the exhaustion that comes with working in such extreme conditions. On top of that, being away from family and friends for so long takes its toll. Birthdays, holidays, and regular everyday moments are all missed. That kind of distance, especially when there's no easy way to just take a weekend off or go home for a break. Some people believe that more perks could really help things like better places to unwind, maybe a lounge or game room, or even occasional travel allowances to visit home now. And then others think it's time to offer mental health support, so crew members have someone to talk to when the pressure gets too heavy, because at the end of the day, no amount of gold or bonuses can truly make up for the stress, isolation, and pure exhaustion that comes with working on Parker's crew. They might be chasing millions, but they're also pushing themselves to the limit day in and day out. Let's be honest here. There's nothing easy about working on Parker SCHNABEL's crew. This isn't some cozy desk job or a part-time gig you can stroll away from when things get tiring. This is the real deal, 12-hour shifts every single day, no matter what the weather's doing or how tired you are. And it's not just 1 week of that. The crew usually follows a grueling schedule, 12 days on, 2 days off. 2 days off might sound like a break, but when your body's been run to the ground for nearly 2 weeks straight, it's barely enough time to catch your breath, let alone recover. Now add in the fact that they're working out in the cold, remote wilderness, where the wind bites, the snow stings, and everything is heavy, from the machinery to the exhaustion they carry every day. The work doesn't stop just because you're tired. The gold doesn't wait, and neither does the deadline. When night falls and the temperature drops even lower, the crew just keeps pushing. The only thing they can count on is that the next day will be just as hard as the last. There's no gentle ramp up. There's no break, just cold, hard labor from start to finish. And if you're thinking the mining camp must at least offer some comfort, think again. It's not some peaceful mountain retreat. It's loud, cramped, and chaotic. There's no real privacy, and rest doesn't come easy when you're sharing small spaces with a bunch of other exhausted people. Then throw in unreliable equipment, dangerous terrain, and the constant threat of breakdowns. A single machine failure can delay production, set off tempers, and add hours of extra work. It's stressful, it's unpredictable, it's tough, and honestly, not everyone can take it. A lot of people walk away before the season ends, and no one blames them, because imagine doing all of that day after day while getting barely any sleep. You wake up tired, you work while you're exhausted, and you go to bed knowing you'll do it all again tomorrow. Your body aches, your mind starts to shut down, and emotionally, the toll is just as heavy. You're away from your family, living in the middle of nowhere, running on fumes, and chasing a goal that might never be guaranteed. And let's not ignore the truth about the work itself. It's not glamorous. It's the same thing over and over again, moving endless piles of dirt, operating loud, bulky machines, and constantly fixing things when they break down. It's not creative. It's not varied. It's not even particularly satisfying. Most of the time, it's grind work, long hours, tedious routines, and no real breaks, except when your body forces you to collapse into bed. Even then, sleep isn't restful, because in just a few short hours, the alarm goes off, and it all starts again. At this point, it's natural to wonder, why would anyone willingly choose this life? Is the money really worth it? Is chasing gold worth this much personal sacrifice? For some, the answer is yes, but for many, it's clear this job isn't for the faint of heart. It takes something different, something stronger. The people who make it through a season with Parker are definitely cut from a different cloth. They've got grit, endurance, and stubborn determination. And in this kind of extreme environment, team spirit matters more than anything. When the body wants to give out and the mind feels like quitting, it's the crew around you that keeps you going. Morale, real hard-earned, deep trust between people, is the fuel that gets them through the hardest days. And surprisingly, one of the most important people on the crew isn't even working the gold. It's the cook. Seriously, that might sound funny at first, but think about it. After a brutal 12-hour shift in freezing cold, nothing feels better than a hot meal. It's more than just food. It's comfort, stability, a little bit of joy in a miserable place. Parker knows this. That's why whenever there's drama in the kitchen, he often takes the cook's side, because he understands one simple truth: a crew that eats well works well. Good food keeps people happy, and in a place where everything else is tough, even one good meal can change the mood of the entire camp. Beyond the food, though, there's something deeper. There's a bond that forms between these miners. It's unspoken but powerful. They're suffering together, working side by side, and pushing through things that most people will never understand. They find loyalty, trust, and resilience the kind that lasts long after the season ends. But there's another side to working with Parker that a lot of people miss, because while the perks and the gold totals get all the attention, what really keeps people coming back season after season is something else entirely. It's career growth. Parker's operation isn't just a place to make money, it's a place to build a career. Let's say you show up as a rookie, you've never touched a dozer, barely know what a wash plant is, and you're just hoping not to get yelled at. Well, if you're willing to put in the work, pay attention, and not quit when things get tough, you've got a real shot at climbing the ladder, and fast. It's not uncommon for total newcomers to move up to equipment operators in just 1 or 2 seasons. That means getting behind the controls of excavators, rock trucks, and loaders, running the machines that actually pull the gold out of the ground. And from there, the path keeps going. Operators who master their equipment often move into more specialized roles like managing plant operations, overseeing saw setups, or even leading full shifts. The beauty of Parker's setup is that it's hands-on from the jump. You're not stuck watching someone else do the job for years. You learn by doing. And that means you pick up real technical skills, fast skills that are valuable not just in gold mining, but across construction, heavy industry, and logistics. And here's something that really makes Parker's operations stand out: the cross-training. If you show an interest, you won't just run one machine all season. You might start in the pit, then jump into the loader, then get time helping manage plant maintenance. And by the end of the season, you're doing tasks across 3 or 4 different roles. That kind of cross-training not only keeps things interesting, it makes you far more valuable. The more jobs you can do, the more irreplaceable you become. And then there's leadership. As the operation grows, so does the need for strong team leads, people who can manage crews, solve problems on the fly, and keep everything running smooth. Even when things hit the fan, Parker has a habit of promoting from within. He watches who steps up under pressure, who gets things done without being told, and who brings the team together instead of tearing it apart. Those people move up, and with more responsibility comes more pay. Some crew members double their earnings within 3 to 4 years just from gaining experience and moving up the chain. It's not a guarantee, and nothing comes easy, but the path is there. And it's not just about mining, because working closely with Parker means you also get a taste of the business side of things. He's not just running a crew, he's running a company. So when someone shows real drive, he mentors them, whether it's how to price out a claim, how to budget for new gear, or how to balance risk and reward on a mining investment. Parker gives his top people the inside track on what it really takes to make this business work. That's the kind of mentorship that doesn't show up in paychecks, but pays off huge in the long run. And we've already seen it work. Take Mitch Blask, for example. He started out as a mechanic, just the guy fixing equipment when it broke down, but over time he became one of the most trusted figures in Parker's crew. Now he's a key leader in the operation, often running entire aspects of the season, while Parker's off scouting new ground. His role, his salary, his importance, everything leveled up through hard work and loyalty. Then there's Brennan Rowe. He came in as a rock truck driver, not exactly glamorous, but he didn't stop there. He pushed to learn more, run bigger machines, and take on tougher jobs. Eventually, he worked his way into an excavator seat and became one of the best diggers on the team. That kind of hustle got him a central role in the crew, with the respect and compensation to match. Tyson McDonald is another solid example. He joined up doing general labor, the kind of grunt work no one wants, but he learned quick, asked smart questions, and soon found himself operating the wash plant, one of the most crucial parts of the entire gold recovery process. He didn't start as a star, but he became one, and with that came more money, more responsibilities, and a real mining career. And then there are the ones who took what they learned and went solo. Several crew members have stepped away to launch their own small-scale mining ventures. It's these stories that keep people coming back season after season. Because once you've been through it, once you've survived the early mornings, the brutal breakdowns, the freezing winds, and the mud up to your knees, you start to realize something. You're not just working a job, you're part of something bigger, a crew, a team, a legacy. Parker doesn't sugarcoat the work. He tells it straight. It's going to be hard, you're going to be exhausted. And not everyone's going to make it to the end of the season. But if you do, you walk away with more than a paycheck. You leave with skills, real usable heavy-duty skills that stick with you. You learn how to run multi-million-dollar equipment, how to repair machines with nothing but duct tape and brain power, how to manage chaos when everything goes wrong, and still bring in the gold. You gain confidence. You realize you can take a beating from the Klondike and still show up the next day swinging. That matters not just out on the claim, but in life. And you get the respect of the people around you, because if there's one thing this kind of work teaches you fast, it's how to earn trust, not through talk, but through action, through long nights, busted knuckles, and digging deep when everyone else wants to quit. So yeah, the question of how much does Parker Schnabel pay his crew has a lot of layers. It starts with money, but it doesn't end there, because when you work on Parker's crew, you're not just earning wages, you're earning a future. Some turn that future into leadership within the operation. Others use it as a launchpad to start something of their own. A few even pivot into new industries, entirely taking what they learned in the gold fields and applying it elsewhere. And let's not ignore the impact of being on the Gold Rush. That's a platform for the crew members who stick around and show real personality. The exposure alone can change everything. Some develop fan bases, some get sponsorship deals, others just enjoy the fact that their hard work is seen and appreciated by millions of people around the world. That kind of recognition doesn't happen on a regular construction site, but on Parker's claim, it's part of the deal. So in the end, what's the real takeaway? Working for Parker Schnabel isn't for everyone. It's cold, it's dirty, it's high pressure and high stakes. You'll be away from family, friends, and regular life for half the year. And you're not always going to be thanked for your efforts, but for the right person, the kind who doesn't flinch from a challenge, who thrives on adrenaline and grit, who wants more out of life than a desk and a 9-to-5. This can be one of the most rewarding jobs out there financially. Yes, 6 figures for 6 months is no joke, but even more so personally, because at the end of the day, Parker doesn't just dig for gold. He digs for people who can rise to the occasion, who can take the hits, make things happen, and walk out better than when they walked in. And if you can do that, then you'll find that Parker Schnabel pays his crew not just in dollars, but in opportunity, growth, and the kind of life lessons you can't buy anywhere else. That's the real gold out in the wild, far from the comforts of normal life. This crew depends on more than just skill. They rely on each other to get through the day. It's not just about moving dirt, it's about surviving harsh weather, staying sane through long shifts, and pushing forward when everything seems to go wrong. And things do go wrong a lot, but through all that, it's the friendships, the jokes, the little wins, and the shared struggles that hold them together. That's what keeps the team going shift after exhausting shift. Without that bond, even the strongest miners wouldn't last long in the brutal world of gold mining. While the crew keeps grinding away in the mud and cold, Parker faces his own kind of pressure. As the leader, he's not only trying to keep the operation running, he's also gambling with huge amounts of money. But if it pays off, the rewards are just as big depending on how much gold they find. Parker can earn anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million a year. That includes both what he makes from mining and his earnings from the show. But Parker doesn't just count on gold or TV money. He's got sponsorship deals, does public appearances, and has invested in smart business ventures. Basically, he's built something much bigger than a mining crew. He's built a brand, and that helps him stay financially steady in a business that's anything but stable. So while his team battles the dirt and weather, Parker's focused on keeping the whole thing moving and making sure he comes out ahead. No matter how the season turns out, his mix of hard work and smart planning is what keeps him on top, because in gold mining you need more than muscle.